Hey everybody, how we doing today? Mark Lozano here, Christ Center Capital, back with our weekly three picks and a couple other announcements. Today, we actually have two normal picks, and then we kind of evaluate an industry. The post will be live tomorrow, Wednesday, July 27th, on ChristCenterCapital.com. There'll also probably be a link to the Wednesday newsletter that's going to be released tomorrow morning about at 9 a.m. But before we get into all that, I just want to give a quick shout out to the College of St. Joseph the Worker. So this was just started by my friends over at New Polity and a couple others. You guys have probably heard me reference Jacob Imam before, but this is a really, really cool concept. The College of St. Joseph the Worker is basically a way where you can get a 4-year degree in Catholic intellectual tradition, and you can also graduate without crippling debt because they're going to teach you how to work with your hands and kind of teach you in that field of dignified labor, of being a carpenter or something of that sort, a trade. So you're going to be working for yourself and starting a business of selling the things that you're making and all that good stuff while earning the degree, and you're going to graduate hopefully net positive instead of $40,000 or $50,000 in debt or whatever the average is nowadays, right? So really, really cool concept. I highly encourage you, go check them out, collegeofstjoseph.com. They got the nice endorsement here by Scott Hahn and all that good stuff. I love this idea. I am a huge advocate for trade schools. I mean, I am someone with a couple different degrees, and I despise college on a lot of different levels. I mean, there's definitely a need for college, especially in those STEM fields and, doctors, lawyers, all that good stuff. But man, so many people going to college, getting all this debt, not using the degrees. Uh, and one thing I really like about the College of St. Joseph the Worker is they encourage a gap year, because studies have shown the people who take that gap year are much more ingrained into what they want to do. They know what they want to do better than the people who do not take that gap year. That's kind of a statistical fact, and it's just because once you get that work experience, you learn about what it is you don't want to do, and hopefully learn about what it is you do want to do. So again, go check them out. I love it. It's a brand new thing that they just started, and again, collegeofstjoseph.com. Now, getting into what we're going to just talk about today, which is our weekly three, and it's really a weekly 9 because we do 2 picks, and then we have an industry where we take about 7 stocks within that industry. But we're having a very hard time lately coming across those gold companies. That's not a shocker to anybody. So bear with us. We have a lot of purple ratings. We just don't, and we're never going to force feed anything here at C3. We're not going to say, like, oh, we haven't had a gold rating in a couple of weeks. We really want to give them something that they can feel comfortable with. That's not what we're doing. We're calling the balls and strikes, but we're not trying to force anything here, right? Just calling the balls and strikes as we see them, as the picks and the assets come through. So let's get right into it, right? All right, so this is a draft of the post that is going to go live tomorrow, but we'll just go through it real quick. The first one, Veeva Systems. So ticker VEEV. Veeva Systems is a really unique play. So one of the guys who started Salesforce ended up starting this company because he realized that the pharmaceutical, drug, life science companies had such a unique they had a very unique, oh man, I'm blanking on the word here. They had a It was hard to meet their demands. So it was very hard for Salesforce and other types of companies to meet the demands that the drug and life science companies were placing. So this guy started Veeva Systems to meet those demands by the life science companies. And Veeva Systems is one of these things where it's like really, really cool and really user friendly and really adaptable for those drug and life science companies. But it's really, really hard for one of those drug or life science companies to go to a different platform because all of their information is being stored on this cloud system for those drug and life science companies. They're kind of killing it on all fronts. From a financial perspective, they're a bit of a no-brainer. at least for the long-term play. Not saying they're going to, double in profit, double in stock price tomorrow or anything, but they're for long-term hold, definitely a bit of a no-brainer. They get a purple rating pretty much because everything in the healthcare field gets a purple rating from C3. Even if they turn up no red flags, they're not supporting anything bad, they're not doing anything that, we find completely egregious, right? They always get a purple rating because healthcare companies support a lot of good and a lot of bad, or at least some bad, no matter what they're doing, right? I mean, like we've always used the example. You can go to a hospital and have a maternity and labor delivery ward, and, on the other side of the hospital, they got people getting abortions. So, they have people treating some dire diseases and bone cancer in children, and then they're writing prescriptions for contraception on the other side of the bill, So healthcare organizations are tough. And Veeva Systems, they're supporting drug companies that are doing a lot of great research and producing a lot of great drugs for the community, for the world, and they're also supporting people that are doing drugs that we as Christians probably wouldn't want to support. So it's a bit of a remote evil aspect there, but that's why Veeva Systems gets the purple rating. Moving right along, United States Steel Corporation, ticker symbol X, because they're real old school. They've been around for a long time. You can see there, I think I can highlight it here. The founders, Andrew Carnegie, John Morgan, Charles Michael Schwab, Elbert Henry Gary. Like, those are big names for people who know anything about the finance world or even a little bit about, U.S. history. United Steels Corporation, they get a purple rating. Again, they haven't turned up anything bad. Like, you can pretty much understand from, if you're a savvy investor, why they'd be recommended. They're kind of a high value company. Most people think that United States Steel Corporation is being undervalued right now, but they get that purple rating not because they've done anything egregiously bad or turned up any red flags. They're not really supporting a whole lot of bad politicians. They're not funding abortion. They're obviously not producing pornography. They're a steel company. They're not involved in any real crazy lawsuits of like child labor or human trafficking, anything like that. But they get a perfect score from the HRC. Usually when you get a perfect score from the HRC, you get a bad score from C3. Right? So the HRC they pretty much score you on everything that is opposed to what C3 is scoring on. So when you get a perfect score, that 100 rating from the HRC, which is that Corporate Equality Index, you usually get a bad rating from C3, but it seems from our research that they really have, a web page that is paying lip service to the diversity, equity, inclusion, governance kind of thing, and that's really all they're doing. And we didn't feel comfortable giving them a red rating just because they have a quote-unquote toothless web page on their website. Like, we just didn't want to do that. So they got a purple rating from us. Again, neither of these companies gold ratings, but what are you going to do? We couldn't come up with a gold rating company in those top two picks. However, we wanted to rate semiconductor companies from kind of best to worst because, as we know, there has been, well, let's back up a second. Why are we recommending semiconductor companies? Well, there's a bill that's going forth in front of the Senate, I believe later this week, that is going to talk about incentivizing and boosting semiconductor production here in the U.S. because the U.S. and China, they're in a bit of an all-out war right now. So U.S. used to produce a lot of chips, and we all know chip shortage is affecting every aspect of our global economy right now. The U.S. used to produce a lot. They produce a lot less now. China is upping their production, and you really don't want China, if you're a U.S. citizen or if you're a Western country, to produce more chips and be a bigger player in that semiconductor world than the United States, right? It's definitely that chip manufacturing semiconductor world is going to be a huge battleground for like kind of global supremacy in, I'm not going to say the near future, probably more far future, but still the future. It's going to be that battleground for that global supremacy, that global economic power. So The Senate is taking action, which I like to see, of trying to boost and incentivize and reduce red tape and all that kind of stuff for the semiconductor production here in the States. That's great. Before this bill went up to pass, we had Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House's husband, Paul Pelosi, buy $5 million worth of NVIDIA. Now, the Pelosis have been kind of known for insider trading. And you can see this article by the New York Post that Nancy Pelosi and Paul Pelosi are trading large with a wealth of hypocrisy, because it's kind of common knowledge now, due to the last couple months, that the Pelosis have engaged in a lot of insider trading. And now that they see this thing coming up before the Senate, they know that it's going to be a favorable outcome, though most people kind of know it's going to be a favorable outcome for the semiconductor world. And, Paul Pelosi, he owns his investment firm, bought $5 million worth of NVIDIA stock. It's kind of a tipping your hat, being like, wink, wink, like, semiconductors are, and here's the thing, like, people always kind of knew semiconductors were going to be a little bit of, we're going to be a good long-term hold, because people are struggling. People want to increase that chip production, and they're working around the clock to figure out how to do that, and it's only a matter of time before they do figure out how to do that. So we just wanted to rank the best to worst, like, from a moral perspective. This has nothing to do with finances. I mean, broadly speaking, NVIDIA is the one that pops up most of the time on our watch list from the financial markets, so they're probably the best financial play, speaking very generally and kind of flippantly. But we're going to talk about the 7 major players in that semiconductor world and just rank them from best to worst on the moral grounds, right? So Broadcom, ticker AVGO, they actually get a gold rating from us. They've never technically popped up on our curation report, so they may not be the strongest of the financial plays, but they get a gold rating from us just because they don't do anything nefarious, and they support really common sense environmental sustainability efforts, and they support a lot of STEM field education. Like, they put their money where their mouth is, and it's, of course, advantageous to them to produce more people in those STEM fields, because that's what they need to produce those chips, right? So they get a gold rating from us, even though they've technically never popped up on our curation report. So I'd encourage anyone to check them out if you're looking to add some semiconductor stock to your portfolio. Then we have NVIDIA and Taiwan Semiconductor. Everyone knows these guys. They've actually popped up on our curation reports before. The only reason NVIDIA is ranked above Taiwan Semiconductor is because NVIDIA is a U.S. company, and we can find out more information about NVIDIA. Taiwan Semiconductor, like, they haven't turned up any red flags, but we, not because of a patriotic stance, not that we're not patriotic here at C3, but the reason that we rank an American company above a foreign company is not really for patriotic reasons. I mean, we actively deter people from investing in, like, communist China, but Taiwan is just, it's a foreign country, and we have a lot more difficulty obtaining the information we want to obtain from them. That's just putting it bluntly. Like, it's tougher. There's language barriers, and there are reports, and trying to figure those things out, and seeing what their corporation's actually doing locally is really hard to figure out. So, again, not that we're not patriotic, but it's not a patriotic reason why NVIDIA is ranked above Taiwan Semiconductor. It's just that we were able to find out more information about NVIDIA. And then we kind of go into the last 4. They all got red ratings. The 4, 5, 6, 7 doesn't really mean anything. They're all kind of on the same bar, or same level here. But we have Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, everyone knows them, Applied Materials. They're all supporters of the Equality Act, all out and equal workplace advocates. They are, a couple of them, like Texas Instruments and Applied Materials, are indirect supporters of Planned Parenthood through third-party organizations. And they all got pretty bad scores from Inspire Investments. Inspire Investments, if you don't know, is a Christian investment firm that does rank people based on some sort of Christian ethic from a moral perspective. They don't really give timely picks like C3 does, and we don't 100% of the time agree with their scoring, because the positive scores usually come from an ESG type rating, and we're huge opponents of ESG here at C3. But sometimes their negative scores can be very telling. But yeah, so we just wanted to call out some of those semiconductor companies. So I'm gonna leave it there. Yep, Veeva Systems, United States Steel Corporation, both got purple scores. They popped up in our curation report this week, and then we just wanted to talk about the semiconductor industry as our third pick. And luckily, we do have a gold company there. Again, they might not be the strongest play financially, Broadcom, for a whole bunch of different reasons, but they did get a gold rating, and they'll probably reap the benefits of this bill that's going through the Senate right now. But thank you guys for listening. I appreciate the time. God bless, and please go check out ChristCenterCapital.com if you haven't already, and sign up for that newsletter. Everything's completely free, and we appreciate those who support us financially to keep all this free. Thank you, and God bless.